Hello fellow observers. This evening we're going to do a night drive. This is a key food test, 25 minutes, 17 miles. Now let me activate FSD. Okay, so I can't activate it now, so I have to go out.
Now turn left onto 43rd Avenue.
Alright, so I still can't. Alright, now I'm activated. So we are at a stop here. And okay, good. So we're at an all-way here. Well, let me just check something. Okay. Alright, we are at a narrow road. So I appreciate FSD on 23 miles per hour, but still, it's still a bit fast for me, a tad bit fast, but I think still okay. And we're at a red light here. Okay, so we are waiting for a green, which we now have. So, okay, just want to point this one out.
500 feet, turn right onto 223rd Street.
My question to you guys is that how often do you encounter a poor GPS location accuracy here? And it says additional attention may be required.
223rd Street.
I do think this is my first time seeing this. So let me know how often you guys see it on your end. So we're at an all-way here, so we are moving ahead.
Now turn left onto Northern Blvd.
Okay, we didn't make it here, but that's okay. Alright, so we are getting the green now. Maybe not yet, but almost. Okay, so we are at a green. We have a left turn here. Okay, good. Now we're making a right here. Okay, good. So it recognized the pylons. And now we are going to Cross Island Pkwy. Now there's some mild traffic here, but I don't think this is heavy. So we are at an autopilot Assertive, just so everyone knows, and we're going to merge here, and let's see how Assertive does at this point. So we are going straight ahead. And I think the car on our left side is very generous. So we are given ample space, and so we are able to merge even smoother. Now this is what I noticed in 12.3.6, right? Like the route for the nav is actually going to Grand Central Parkway, but this lane is always slow because before we hit the Grand Central ramp, we are hitting the I-495 or the Long Island Expressway ramp, and so a lot of cars are going in there. But FSD, I think, doesn't have yet this capability to say like, oh, I should go to the left 2 lanes because I'm not going into this incoming I-495 ramp anyway. And I think this is the case right now. We're just going to go ahead here, but I think down the line it will make a lane change, so let's see. Now you see here the sign Exit 30E, Long Island Expressway.
In 1 mile, take exit 29EW on the right toward Grand Central Parkway.
So I'm just turning up the AC just so the camera will have enough cooling and won't shut down on me mid-test. So as you can see here, we're just going straight, but we took a lot of time on this rightmost lane, even though we could have moved to the 2 left lanes. So we're going straight ahead and aiming for Grand Central. And we are going to move here to the right, to the off-ramp. Alright, good. Okay, good adjustment here because the car on our left is encroaching on our lane boundary.
Now take exit 29EW on the right.
Okay, so I noticed again
Now
it
take
has
the
a
ramp on the left toward Grand Central Parkway.
It had
In
a-
500 feet, take the ramp on the left toward Grand Central Parkway.
So I'm not sure if you noticed that there was a brief left turn signal, and I mentioned this in 12.3.6 where it kind of sends a ambiguous message telling other drivers that I might want to go out of this ramp and go back to the lane where I came from, but that just want to point that out. And someone mentioned
In 500 feet, take the Grand Central Parkway ramp on the left.
And someone mentioned that it could be that because it's
Now
still
take
the stack
Grand
from
Central
V11.
Parkway ramp on the left.
So I'm just floating it up there. And now we are going here on the rightmost lane. And we're going straight. So this current lane will be ending and we will be transferring to the next lane on the left. And okay, so FSD kind of slowed down and then accelerated right after that car passed us. So we are currently staying on the rightmost lane, and I do think FSD doesn't have to make a lane change unless this lane slows down. That's what I've been noticing. And since the traffic is free flowing, I think we're gonna stay here until we really need to make some lane changes for a navigation instruction update. Now to our audience who is watching overseas, not from the US, as you can see here, in the US, the traffic on the leftmost lane should be the fastest. It should be the passing lane. But, you know, sometimes there are cars that are on a slower speed and they're on the leftmost lane. And sometimes these things happen, like it becomes the opposite. The leftmost lane becomes the slow lane and the rightmost lane becomes the fastest. But ideally, leftmost lane is only for passing vehicles and those who are running on higher speeds. Okay, so you see this, we have a speed limit of 55 and then the max, for some reason the auto speed limit was dropping to 35. So that was interesting. It's the auto speed limit is the 35, not the actual speed limit on the road. So now we just made a lane change and I actually did manual intervention of pressing the accelerator. So that's just an FYI. So now we're making a lane change to the passing lane. Now we're making a lane change back to the middle lane. Okay, good. Okay, now we're back to the passing lane once again. Okay, so we are entering a work zone. So right lane closed 1/2 mile. Okay, so we
In
will...
1 mile, keep left to stay on Northern State Parkway East toward Eastern Long Island.
Okay, good adjustment here for slowing down. Now let's see how FSD behaves on this scenario if there is a work zone. Typically at this time it's not that much of a heavy traffic, but now we're seeing a buildup here. So it said that the right lane is closed, so a lot of cars might be merging on the lanes on the left side. Okay, so a lot of cars are going to this lane. Let's see if FSD makes a lane change, but I think we could still make it if we just stay here. Alright, good.
Now keep left to stay on Northern State Parkway East.
Okay, so we are making a lane change to the middle lane. Good.
In 1 mile, take exit 33 on the right onto Wantagh Parkway South toward Jones Beach.
So in 0.9 miles, we are exiting towards Wantagh Parkway, and I'm waiting actually. When will FSD make a lane change to the right lane? That's what I'm waiting for. So, okay, we hear the chime now, so it's thinking of making a lane change soon. Okay, now here we go. Alright, good. We have ample space. Alright, that was straightforward.
Now take exit 33 on the right. In 1,000 feet, take the Wantagh Parkway South ramp on the left. Now take the Wantagh Parkway South ramp on the left.
Alright, good. Good exit here.
In 1 mile, take exit W2E on the right toward Old Country Road, then make a right U-turn onto Carman Avenue.
Okay, we earlier had a postponed lane change, and now we're making a successful one. Okay, good. Lane change back to the right lane, and then we're exiting from here. Okay, let's see. Again.
Now take exit W2E on the right.
Okay, speed limit is at 56. Okay, good.
Now make a right U-turn onto Carman Avenue.
So I think that's reasonable for me because
Now turn right onto Old Country Road.
it didn't slow down so much. Okay, now in the past 12.5 test to CVS, the stop here took a bit more time, and let's see how quick this one is. Okay, so it's starting to creep now, and I think it's still a bit slow. We could have inched forward, but I think that's still reasonable. Now the thing is, the reason I'm pointing that out is because in those kind of cases for 12.5, it's a bit slower than 12.3.6 for the ones that I had during the CVS test for 12.5, to the point that the cars behind me are honking. So I just want to point that out. Okay, so we are now at a green, And
In
we
500 feet, turn right onto Levittown Parkway.
are going to make a right here.
Now turn right onto Levittown Parkway.
Okay, good. So we are 2 minutes away, 0.8 miles. We are almost there. Okay, we are at a red light. Alright, now we're moving. This is straightforward.
In 1,000 feet, turn right.
So we are here. And we're making a right.
Now turn right.
Okay, good. Now I'd like to see where it will stop.
Now your destination is on the right.
Alright, so obviously Key Food is now closed, and just want to see where the car will park or will stop.
Now turn right onto North Newbridge Road. Now turn right.
Okay, okay. Alright, so it stopped here. This is not the proper parking spot. It kind of crossed over, so I'm just gonna end my FSD session here. So pretty much it was a smooth drive, and I'm just gonna start from the beginning. So we had actually on the street drive, we encountered the first stop. That was good, straightforward, light traffic. On the narrow roads, it was slowing down less than 25 miles per hour. But, you know, I think this is from my opinion that there are times that it needs to be slower. But for the most part, it does well. And it adjusts on narrow streets. And also, all-way was good. And also, when we turned left to Northern Blvd, that was good. One notable point again, when we merged to Cross Island Pkwy, it stayed on the rightmost lane, even though the lanes on the left are much, how do I say it, have less traffic on it. And so it stayed there until it passed the Long Island Expressway ramp, and that's when things got faster. Now the point I'm making is that it could have been faster if FSD went to the middle or the leftmost lane, but it didn't. So I'm going to monitor that kind of behavior for the next versions. Now, as you can see here, of course, I have already a 12.5.1 downloaded, but I'm trying to test 12.5 with the core testing that I have. And then it went through the off-ramp, and it made that slight short-lived left turn right before it went to the keep left at the fork towards Grand Central Parkway. And that brief left turn kind of sometimes is confusing, maybe for other drivers, because if they see that, they might think that FSD would like to go back to Cross Island Parkway lanes instead of the off-ramp. So just want to point that out. And of course, someone mentioned that that stack actually is from V11. So since it's from V11, it will eventually be replaced until maybe somewhere in 12.5. And so we'll see. And also during the Grand Central Parkway drive, things were looking good with the lane changes. It kept initially on the right lane because the right lane was always free and clear. And then eventually, of course, we went to the middle lane, the passing lane. But there was that one section in Grand Central where FSD will always slow down, and I felt already that it did. But what I noticed was that before the speed limit is the one that goes down to 45, 35, and then the speed of the car actually follows from there. But what I noticed earlier was that the speed limit was still at 50 something, but the auto speed limit setting of FSD dropped to 35, and I felt the car slowing down, and so I had to do a manual human intervention. I pressed the accelerator just to keep the speed around the higher 50s to be the same with the traffic flow. And of course we passed through a construction zone, but it was okay. It stayed at the middle lane and there was no problem. Then we exited towards Wantagh Parkway. It was good. And then when we exited out of Wantagh Parkway, it didn't slow down too much, so that was good. And we'll have more looks on that for the other testing, and let's see if that is something that's consistent. And also with the stop to Old Country Road, it was, for some reason, maybe I'm just nitpicking, but it felt slower than 12.3.6. I'm not sure. How do you guys feel about it? If you're testing 12.5, what are your thoughts on that? And we went the right lane to Levittown Parkway, and then we made a right here at Key Food. So what I noticed at the end is that it's actually looking for a place where it can stop, and before it usually stopped at the entrance of Key Food. So this was something different, and I'm gonna keep on monitoring that for successive versions and successive tests. And yeah, so that is it for the Key Food test. And if you find this video helpful or of value, please like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.